Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Wednesday, the 22nd day of November 2023. I hope you're all safe and healthy. I hope your family's safe and healthy. I hope the needs of you and your family are being met today and that there's blessings upon your household, blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, along with the first responders who every day are saving lives, and those that pick up garbage for us to keep our towns and streets and cities clean and disease free, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings upon the men and women that are out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover the teenagers and children that are the victims of child molestation and pedophilia. The people who also are victims of prostitution and child prostitution, pornography, human trafficking, sex slavery. Double curses on all the perpetrators of these things. Double curses upon all those who profit from these things, and double curses upon all the perverts that create the industry for these things. Finally, double blessings upon the homeless. Nearly 600,000 men, women, and children, and increasingly senior citizens without roofs over their heads living in the streets of the United States of America, and millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. So, brethren, I was looking at the Knicks schedule because it felt like it was a little tough for us in the beginning. And that's basically what it is. You see, this is the thing. All 30 teams play 82 games. All 30 teams play 82 games split between 41 home games and 41 away games. All teams play back-to-backs, but all teams do not play the same number of back-to-backs. So as I looked it up, the Knicks are not among the leaders in the league in terms of the number of back-to-backs in terms of season long. But they had a lot of back-to-backs early. They've already had 4 back-to-backs. And some people like to, just blanket say don't make excuses. I like to analyze and make intelligent observations versus somebody just saying that's an excuse. No, it's not an excuse if your team gets tired. And teams do get tired. Now, every team goes through their patches, their tough patches. And it's a lot of times a function of a couple of things. It's a function of injuries and scheduling. Okay? So the Knicks have already had 4 back-to-backs in their first 14 games. They've had 4 back-to-backs already. Okay, they're going to play 9 of 12 on the road. They just come off a 5-game road trip last week. The Minnesota game was the 5th of the 5-game road trip. They're going to have another one of those in December. And out of the 12 games they will play in December, 9 will be on the road. But in terms of back-to-backs, they've had, now those are tough. The players hate that. And those are tough. They have 4 they already have. They got 2 more in December. Total of 6. And then for the rest of the season, from January to April, they only have 5 total. So they're getting theirs out of the way early. They're getting the grind part with the back-to-backs out of the way early. And the more road games they play early, the less road games they're going to play later, because everybody plays 41 road games. So what am I saying? That right now, the Knicks are going through hell, but it's going to help them later, especially with a coach like Thibodeau, that if anything else, he's known not only as a defensive coach, but a tough coach in terms of getting his players in top shape and ready to play, similar to Miami, in fact, in terms of the conditioning. You cannot play for the Miami Heat if you're not in top condition when you come to that squad. You cannot play unless you play some defense and you're in top condition. Tom Thibodeau is the same way. You got to be in top condition and you got to be ready to grind and play some defense. That is going to bode well for the Knicks going forward. So that on Monday night, when you saw the Knicks lose to Minnesota, what I haven't heard a lot of people mention, a lot of people want to be negative because, again, New York Knicks Nation unfortunately buys into the negative media and starts regurgitating it without obviously thinking about it on a macro level. What do I mean macro level? You got to look at it on a more wider, broader level in terms of the last 4 years of development. What have they been doing? In terms of, instead of looking at it on a micro level and trying to make long-term predictions on one game. Okay, like some knucklehead said, you still think Grimes is the championship piece? What? Because he was 0 for 6, he's not a championship piece now? That would be stupid in terms of an overall career arc. Okay, in terms of his long-term potential for the Knicks, we need to, start DiVincenzo now. That's knee-jerk Monday morning quarterback reactions. That's not long-term sustainable winning. Okay, so you have to look at this on a broader scale, on a broader level. And unfortunately, a lot of people that try to even look at it at a broader level, they're looking at it in terms of who can we trade for on a broader level. Next summer, who could we get? Can we look at this team in terms of its long-term projection on a macro level? Okay, that's long-term sustainable winning. It's built by players you draft and you develop. That's how you build it. That's what the Knicks are doing. And now, having just played Minnesota on Monday at their fifth away game on a road trip, having not had the energy, in Minnesota having only played one back-to-back this season, Minnesota is going to go through their patch where they got to play 4 back-to-backs or 3 back-to-backs in a month. They're going to go through their patch where they got to go through 5-game road trips. Every team does. And so what you want is you want your team battle tested, so that the early Knicks here, the early part of the season, that's what's going on. They're getting battle tested. So look at it. Your New York Knicks come off a 5-game road trip, right? They just finished 5 games on the road, starting in Boston on November 13th and finishing in Minnesota on November 20th. So between 7 games, in 7 days, they played 5 games all on the road. Okay? And they had Boston, Atlanta, Washington, Charlotte, Minnesota. They started the season with Atlanta, New Orleans, and Cleveland on the road. They went to on the road against Milwaukee. Now, some of you, if you were looking at this schedule before the season started, would you say the Knicks would be 8-6 right now? See, people don't look at it like that. They're looking at being negative, but the Knicks are 8-6. They went through that schedule, and they're 8-6. That's without R.J. Barrett for 2 or 3 games. That's without Quentin Grimes for 2 games. That's with Julius Randle ankle not being 100% when he started the season. And here they are, 8-6. And not only are they 8-6, but they have a 3-day rest. So they played in Minnesota on Monday the 20th. The next game is on Friday against Miami the 24th. That means they get Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday to rest and to study film and to heal. I like the way this is looking, I guess is what I'm saying. So they got to go through another murderer's row after they get in their 4-game homestand right here. So here you got Miami, Phoenix, Charlotte, and Detroit at home. Then you're going to go on the road with Toronto, a home and home. And it's actually a back-to-back. You're going to be in Toronto on Friday. You're going to be in New York. You're going to be in Toronto on a Thursday. I'm sorry. You're going to be in New York on Thursday, November 30th. And you're going to be in Toronto on Friday, December 1st. So that's a back-to-back starting in December there. And then you got that back-to-back, Detroit, Toronto, and then you got Toronto again, back at home and home. And then you go on a road trip. Utah. This is going to be a tough one. Utah, Phoenix, Clippers, Lakers, Brooklyn. That's 5-game road trip in December. And ending in Brooklyn. I'm gonna be at that Brooklyn game, and that's it's going to work out. It all evens out at the end in terms of home and away. So they're gonna play 41 and 41 like everybody else, but they're gonna play a lot of away games in November, which they are doing, and December. This is a lot of away games up front, which means later on they're gonna get a lot of home games. Later on, you can have other teams go through their back-to-back schedule. Go through their away schedule when the Knicks have already done it and have been battle tested and are rested. Not only that, we understand from watching Tom Thibodeau, now this is his 4th season on the sidelines in New York, his teams get better after December. After December, the team starts to gel. They start to catch on, they start to catch the concepts, they start to flow. This team is flowing a little bit earlier, in my view, because if you look in the past, The Knicks would start strong sometimes and then go on losing streaks early, and then have all the controversy in New York. There are people that call for changes after every loss. We got to bench Grimes after this loss. We got to go trade for a big forward after this loss. I don't hear from them when the Knicks are winning. Okay, only when they lose. Okay, so they're 8-6 now. So at this point, I like where we at. And I think December is going to be a big test because, like I said, there's 2 back-to-back. There's a 5-game tough road trip. I mean, you're talking about Utah. You're going far out in West. Utah, Phoenix, LA, and LA. Then you come back for Brooklyn on December 20th, which Brooklyn is really a home game, right? I mean, it's in New York. But that's the last of that road trip. So then you got another 2 games against Milwaukee. Right after that, the 23rd of December and the 25th of December. 2 games against Milwaukee. Actually, a Christmas Day game. Both of them are at home. That's interesting. Yeah, both Milwaukee games, the 23rd and the 25th, at home in Madison Square Garden. And they're both matinee games. A Saturday matinee game and a Monday matinee game at noon. So, yeah, there's those 2. So, this is going to be an interesting schedule. I'm thinking, though, that the Knicks are going to end up pretty similar to where they are now. They end up with a winning record at the end of December. Usually, if you go back, again, during Thibs' tenure, the Knicks have been around 500 entering January, usually. The first season under Thibodeau, they were a little bit below 500. They went and got Derrick Rose at the trade deadline, and then they went on a long winning streak soon after that. Then the second year, they didn't do well. That's when they had Kemba Walker. Again, they were below 500. They went on a winning streak, but they still were short, 37 and 45. Then last year, they were around 500 around January. Then they went and got Josh Hart. He changed the lineup and took out Cam and Fournier, got Josh Hart, and then they went on another winning streak and ended up last year with 47 wins. So I'm thinking they'll be a little bit better this January. I'm thinking they'll be sort of like, as far as percentage-wise, where they are right now. Right now, as I mentioned, they are 8-6. So when you look at the standings right now, at 8-6, the Knicks are tied for the 7th seed with the Cavaliers right now. They're 57% winning percentage. So I'm thinking, yeah, that should be something along where they are coming in January, about 57% winning percentage after maybe 35 games, 30 games. So I'm thinking this is going to be, I'm still sticking with a 50-win season because to me, again, they start playing better after December. And I think that's going to continue. And again, barring injuries, but generally speaking, you got your RJ, Drew, Mitch Rob is playing out of his mind right now. I don't think that's going to stop unless he gets hurt. Mitch Rob has been playing out of his mind this year. So even Monday against Gobert, he was killing Gobert. They went and they got help. They had good ball movement. Again, they had 30 assists. The Knicks only had 16. Drew regressed a little bit that game in terms of trying to bully his way a lot. It wasn't bad, but it was not good enough against a team that had 30 assists, was moving the basketball. The Knicks needed to do that a little bit more. You got to give some credit to Minnesota's defense for that as well. But regardless, Mitch Rob was killing. He still had 10 offensive rebounds. No, he had 7 offensive rebounds Sunday. He had a total of 11 boards. Yeah, he's doing work. So the Knicks, I'm thinking, are going to be really getting better. Dante DiVincenzo is getting more acclimated to the team and his role. He spoke a little bit negative about coming off the bench as if he didn't know he was going to. He's going to continue to come off the bench. And so I think everybody's going to flow. And a lot of y'all, this is another thing that killed me. You know how many, we did this already. Like I showed y'all how many games Quentin Grimes had at least 5 threes in his first 2 years in the league. And there's a lot of them where he has at least 5 threes in his first 2 years in the league. And so a lot of you act like he also, it's like with Julius Randle, all of a sudden he can't play anymore because he started the season rough. Now all of a sudden Grimes can't shoot because he got hurt his wrist and he started the season rough. Anyway, There was a lot of games where Quentin Grimes had 5 threes in the last 2 years. He's going to have a lot more, going forward. Right now, yes, it would be nice for him to become more aggressive and go off the dribble, but I don't think that's not that's going to flow. That's going to kind of come organically. It's not going to be something he needs to force. It's going to come organically. You see, some of you don't understand what that means, and I can't help you. But anyway, I'm liking what we're looking like now. This game against Miami on Friday is a big game. It's a really quality team, and they need to really take this game against Miami. If they could win that game, I like it. It's in New York. It's going to be. Then you have Sunday against Phoenix again, a 4-game homestand. I think the Knicks could win these 2 games, but they got to win one at a time. But yeah, Friday night's going to be a dogfight. Miami's always a dogfight. And so I'm liking how we going. I think I like how we look for that game. So Friday night Knicks, though, with that music is always a problem. But I think they're going to play all right after getting 3 days rest. Y'all enjoy your Thanksgiving holiday. Don't kill yourself with too much sugar. Enjoy yourself, though. Shalom.